Hi, I'm Katie Ustas, and I worked on this project with Sarah Adams, and we are going to talk about a convection and plate tectonics web quest today. That is the visual that we decided to revise using our visual literacy strategies and theories that we talked about in this class. The first thing I'm going to do is go through a very quick overview of the original and then a quick overview of the new web quest. So the original was done. It does have actually a lot of really good visual strategies, but we thought it could use some improvement. Um, just to take a look at some of the pages real quick. And then you can see that there's a bar to go to the next one. And then the new website, we changed the color scheme, we changed the fonts. It still has a nice clear menu. You still click on the bottom to go to the next site. This is a new page, you can see. And this one was cleaned up a little bit. And there's the conclusion, just to give you a quick overview of the website. Some of the key changes we made were to the form of the website. Some of the strategies and graphic design principles that we used were about lines, shape, and color. And the lines we used were, I'll show you in a minute, but there was a line underneath the title of each page, and then the symmetry with the line at the bottom of the page, which was a button to the next part of the web quest. We considered shape, like how the graphics were placed into the website itself to try and keep a uniform and rectangular or square shape throughout, and considered the white space in between the text and the, the the images. And then we went with a simple red, white, and black color scheme. Black and white are really nice to contrast to make it easy to be able to read the text. And we did the red to give it a little pop of color. So if we go back to the website, you can see here's the use of the lines, and then the lines follow up again on the bottom, and each page has that, so it's nice that it follows some patterns throughout to make it easier to navigate. The shape comes more into play on the task and process pages, but they do have a similar shape and structure throughout with text and images and those lines to keep it in the form. And then the last one was color, so you can see the colors choices were evident. Some of the other choices that we decided to revise was the layout. This comes into play mainly on the task and the process pages because these two pages were different than the original, but the layout is fairly consistent throughout. We have a title at the top of the page, a button at the bottom of the page, we have the menu across the top, and it's pretty easy to navigate because the layout is pretty consistent. I'm going to quick and show you these two pages and why we chose to change those up a little bit. So if I go to the task one first, the purpose of this page on the web quest is to create a infographic. And the students do research on the process, but they have to create an infographic. So this actually has a whole bunch of resources for kids to choose from that can help them decide what they want to do for their infographic. These three are all tutorials on, like, first of all, what is an infographic, and then you can choose Canva or Piktochart because those are new tools for the students. And then some of the resources more about science graphics are on the bottom. There's a reading resource here, and then there is to help think about semantics, like the purpose of the infographic and the audience that you're trying to connect with. But you can see that the shape is pretty, it's like kind of like a menu to pick from, whereas the process page is more of like a list. And we did that on purpose because the list gives you a sense of, like, do this first, do this second, do this third, and how they kind of build on one another. So we thought the shape was important on those. And then you can see the shape is pretty much consistent then throughout the rest with images and text intermixed. We did think a lot about typography, and we went with a font called Bitter. And we did that because it kind of had a round kind of shape to it. So it kind of had a little bit more playful or youthful look to it. But it was serif. And so serif kind of gave it a little more of a serious vibe to it at the same time, to like, yes, a fun font for children or students. We thought that was helpful, but we also wanted to show that it was kind of a, it's educational, so we're learning from it too. Plus, for some of the longer passages, we felt like serif would help kids track as they read through it a little bit more. And then it's very clean and easy to read, which helps with students when they're trying to navigate through the website. We used signposts throughout the entire web quest, and some of the signposts are titles and subtitles. I'll show you those in a minute. We did choose to make some text bolder than others, and that helps kind of draw the eyes to like the main points of each. You could consider the menu in the upper right a signpost because it takes you to different parts of the website, and even maybe the button at the bottom of each page. So again, I'll show you back through some of those. The titles are bolder and in the largest font size. Important information or main ideas and things we wanted to draw attention to were either bolded or italicized. You have the buttons to take you to the next section. Again, bold title, bold things that are main ideas. This one has bold headings for the title. And then here's kind of like some subtitles, topics to think about that come up in there. And then process, same thing, bold and bold headings. And then, of course, the buttons. We added 2 resources to get students to think about visual literacy. We thought that, yes, we could change this website and make it more, 21st century. We thought we could make it better in terms of how it's perceived visually, but we also thought we could incorporate that into what the kids are learning, because we want to teach kids visual literacy as well. We want them to be visually literate. So we added an article that talks about science graphics, the different types of science graphics, why some are more advantageous over others, and how there's some things that most science graphics would need, and kids need to learn about what those are so that they can understand how to use them. And then we added a document that we made that makes kids think about why they're creating their infographic, who's going to be reading it, what's the purpose of it. So we created a new document for that, and those show up on the task page down here. And you can see one of the cool tech tools about this that Sarah's going to talk about too later is that you can actually walk through the entire article within the website. So you don't actually have to click on this and pull up another tab and get lost in the tabs. You can just scroll right on here in the website and not lose your place. Or if you just want to quick view something, it's just right there for you, which we thought was pretty fantastic. And same with the Google document that we embedded, that we created. You can see here, there's some guiding questions to have kids think about their audience. Who will be reading their infographic? How will this change the information that you share, knowing who they are that are reading it? And then what information do they need to know? And then why are you creating it? Why is it important? How are we going to communicate what we know and understand? How could it be used? What do I need to include in my graphic to make sure it's clear? What does my chosen type of graphic tell the reader? So just, some things that kids could think about while they're creating their infographics, being more mindful of how and why they're creating it and how they're going to communicate what they've learned, thinking about their visual literacy as well. And then Sarah is going to talk to you about the rest.
Hi, I'm Sarah Adams, and I'm going to continue going over key changes made to our web quest. We decided to add 3 videos in for clarification and directions. The first video here describes what is an infographic. Before these videos were in place, the only directions on this part of the web quest was typed out words for the students to utilize. We decided to incorporate these 3 videos for a multitude of reasons. The first one explains what an infographic is. It allows them to understand its purpose, why it's made the way it is, instead of some other kind of design feature they would present. Infographics are visual representations of what students have learned in this case. They're going to be taking the information and applying it into an infographic. So they need to understand the concepts of an infographic and why they're so important. This video will walk them through those steps. The other 2 videos are made by 2 different programs. So the students are allowed to use Piktochart, Canva, or any of the Google Slides or Docs to create their infographic. Piktochart and Canva are newer programs for them that they may not have used before in the past. The first video is from Canva, and they walk through the different templates and how to use their programs. They may have used Canva in the past with other classes for presentations, worksheets, and other items for class, but Piktochart may be brand new to them. The Piktochart does similar things that Canva does. It walks them through the templates, how to use the programs, and so on and so forth. We felt that these visuals were important to integrate into the web quest instead of the typed out directions because the students could reference and utilize these videos while they were creating their infographics. They could reference back to them, slide through the videos, and discover more about these options. If they decided to go in the direction of the Google Slides or the Docs, they could also still use these videos for ideas of templates and how to lay out an infographic and why it's important, as in the first video. The next slide is about the assessment instructions or the assessment instruments that we used. There was 2 different ones. One was more for the students. This is what is going to be used when grading them. This is located for them to view on the WebQuest evaluation. And this is what is going to be used to grade their infographic, to look at, did they know the information? Did they apply it properly? How does their infographic look? The other one is the assessment instrument that we as the WebQuest evaluators and the creators would be using. This is going to be through a Google form, and the students are going to be completing this at the end of the web quest. On this slide here, you'll see some examples of the questions that we used. We decided to do a 1 through 5 rating scale to see if this made their experience using the web quest easier or harder. We then can look at those results immediately through Google Forms. Google Forms, after all the questions are completed by the students, will then create these charts for us that we can use immediately. It populates the information, there's no work on our end, and we can compare and contrast over the years of how the students feel about these improvements. Did the visuals actually help them? Did they feel that these enhancements in the font or the size and the color really did have an effect? We can also use this in conjunction with their rubric to see if grades went up or down based on this information. If we see an influx or we see things go down, we can then make adjustments or stay the course that we are on. And last, we're going to talk about the technology that was utilized during this project. The first one is Google Sites. We used Google Sites to create our web quest. Katie had talked about this previously. The wonderful thing about Google Sites is we are the creators. We are in control. We can embed the information as we see fit. The kids do not have to go to any other tabs. Everything plays in real time within the web quest utilizing Google Sites. They can scroll through the PDFs and they don't have to manage all the different tabs and different places that they need to go. We used up-to-date science articles that were found online, so utilizing information on a website that's up to date. We use PictoChart site and Canva as an option for them and the videos that go along with it. Google Forms is what we used to create our evaluation system for the students to use. And last, we utilized YouTube. YouTube was where we were able to find our videos and other information that we put into our web quest. The combination of these technologies really allowed us to connect with the students and create a investment with them. We are competing with their phones, their other classes, different projects going on. So we had to be able to find a hook that made them more invested. This is a new program for them in some cases. Infographics are not something they typically do. So introducing Canva and PictoChart are technologies that are new for them and kind of keep them invested, as well as the videos. They're something exciting, it's short, it's quick, but keeps them invested. And overall, we really want them to be their own creator. So they're creating the visuals and they're going through this process. So with the combination of all of these 21st century technologies incorporated within the WebQuest, we feel that these visuals really make an improvement and help us connect with our students and the overall learning experience. Thank you.